Back to the grind with the only free MMA channel that fucking matters, full-time MMA. And we got Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series Recap Episode 3 on deck. Last week we had Sugar Sean O'Malley, my fucking dude, burst onto the scene with an epic performance versus what seemed to be a game opponent. And then he went on to smoke some of that John Blaze shit with Snoop Dogg backstage. And I found out that he wasn't under UFC contract yet. So he's good on USADA, so that's what's up. So, let's get into tonight. First fight of the night was at featherweight. It was a Cuban gentleman, Luis Gomez, versus a Hawaiian gentleman, Dan Ige. Snoop Dogg, he was on point. He said, a left to the fitness. Gomez has a lot of getting out of that shit game. You know, Snoop Dogg with some of that funny-ass commentary. That's why I watched the Snoop cast. But it looked like Dan Ige was the better fighter here. It was a good fight. This was probably the most contentious fight of the night. Dan Ige came out and got a good W, solid W. It's an entertaining fight. And let me see if it went to decision. Yeah. It was over at the it was over in round 3. He finished the job. That's what happened. Dan Ige finished the job. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I had to read my notes. I was just going off my memory for a second. But yeah, so Dan Ige, he won the fight in round 3. He finished the fight. There were a lot of finishes, but there were a lot of weird finishes tonight. Like Daniel Jolly, he was a guy that has fought in the UFC before. I recognized his name before this. I knew he had fought in the UFC before. He'd fought twice in the UFC. He lost once to Misha Serkinov. This was a light heavyweight fight, and he was going against the guy Alonzo Manfield. Both of these guys played like college football and stuff, so they were both very athletic. I was interested to see how this fight went because Daniel Jolly, man, if you have a gaydar, at all, my shit was going ding 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 ding, pointing to Daniel Jolly, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was just curious because you know what they say, like, if you can take it in the ass, you can take a punch in the face. Put some respect on my comedy and quit fucking crying for a second. So yeah, I was interested to see how this fight went though because they were both former football players, both very athletic. I was thinking this was probably going to be a knockout or something. Snoop Dogg, he had a funny Daniel Jolly voice. He heard Daniel Jolly talking, and he had a funny voice. He sounded like his Todd voice, if you know who his Todd character is, but if not, oh well. So Daniel Jolly though, he was going for like the lay and pray. He was just trying to wrestle fuck the dude. Interesting. But Alonzo Manfield, he was trying to strike with Daniel Jolly. Daniel Jolly, it looked, Uriah Faber was saying it looked like Daniel Jolly didn't want to get punched in the face. He was scared of getting hit. He said every time he would go to throw, he would put his head down like he didn't want to get hit. So the referee stood the fight up once it did go to the ground. And Alonzo Manfield, he ended up winning, but it was off doctor stoppage because whenever they both went to throw right at each other, I believe overhand right, Daniel Jolly got poked in the eye, and once he got to his corner, he said, hey, I can't see. The doctors came in and stopped the fight. So Alonzo Manfield got a TKO, not in the way he wanted to, but he did get the TKO. It was doctor stoppage, so unfortunately for both of these guys, since they're fighting for a contract, that's not good enough. So next we had Geoff Hands of Steel Neal middleweight fight versus the slight favorite, or he was the slight favorite, even though he was coming in on 11-day notice. He was fighting against the U.S. No, that was the next fight. He was fighting against a guy named Chase Walden. I was going to say U.S. Marine Corps vet, but that was Kyle Stewart. So we had Geoff Hands of Steel Neal versus Chase Walden. This was a middleweight fight. Chase Walden didn't put up much of a fight here. Geoff Neal was clipping him. He clipped him up on the way in as Chase Neal ran in. Geoff Neal clipped him up with some strikes. Chase went for a takedown, and as soon as they stood back up, Chase didn't want any smoke. It was kind of awkward. It looked like Chase wanted out of the fight early. Like, he wanted out of the fight is what it looked like. I mean, he didn't tap the strikes, but it looked like he just wanted out of the fight early. I don't know if how hard he got hit, but yeah, it wasn't much of a fight. So Geoff Neal picked up a really quick W in the first round. Geoff Neal, this was, interestingly enough, Geoff Neal is a welterweight. This fight was at middleweight, and Geoff Neal had fought 11 days prior to this. So this was his second win in 12 days at 2 weight classes. So Dana White went ahead, spoiler alert, this guy was one of the guys that got the contract. There were 2 contracts given out. Geoff Neal, that was impressive though. He moved up a weight class, fought again on 12-day notice, then he picked up another W, so he's going to be fighting at welterweight in the UFC, and it will be fun to watch what he does with that noted. So next we had an undefeated Marine Corps veteran, Kyle Stewart, versus the Jamaican Jason Jackson. fucking, this was an interesting fight, a very interesting fight. I honestly, low-key thought, by the end of the event, I thought he was going to get the contract, but he didn't get it. So, Snoop Dogg had a Jamaican accent during this fight, and it was fucking on point. That shit was on fleek. But what happened in this fight was Jamaican Jason Jackson got hit and he got dropped by the Marine Corvette Kyle Stewart. And when he got dropped, he landed really fucking awkwardly on his ankle. He could have broke his own ankle the way he landed on it, but he was out, like he got put out. But then he woke back up before it was over. So the fight wasn't over right there, but he landed really awkwardly on his ankle. So he stood back up, finished the round out, and then about 30 seconds into the second round, that same ankle just boom. He was just trying to move on it, and he like damn near re-broke that shit, re-sprained it, whatever he did. He messed his ankle up, so he was out of the fight. He couldn't walk anymore. So that fight ended due to that injury. So Marine Corvette got what's his name, Kyle Stewart. He got a TKO victory as well. That was two interesting stoppages. The way that went. That's what Uriah Faber was saying. He was like, "This is an interesting night of fights." So that was a win, but it didn't go. I'm sure he wasn't happy with that. The same as that eye poke. You know, you didn't really get to earn the contract, which is what you're going for. You're not just going for a win here. You're trying to earn the contract in spectacular fashion. So it sucks when your opponent gets injured. So next we had the main event, Kyle Roberson versus Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann was 4 inches taller with a 5-inch reach advantage, but this fight was over in 17 seconds. He had a reach advantage and he was taller, but he charged in, and fucking Kyle Roberson landed fucking defensive elbows in the clinch, just short range, 3 of them, put him down in about 17 seconds with some defensive elbows. It was very impressive. So who ended up getting the contract? Geoff Neal, the welterweight middleweight, came in. He's going to be fighting at welterweight. Picked up his second win in 12 days. He picked up a contract, and Carl Roberson, the gentleman, won in 17 seconds. He won really fast with those defensive elbows, short distance, a lot of power, and that was a light heavyweight. So that's going to be interesting for the light heavyweight division. So yeah, man, we got a new middleweight. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that wasn't light heavyweight. The previous fight was light heavyweight. That was a middleweight. So we got a new middleweight coming into the UFC and a new welterweight. The middleweight is going to be Kyle Roberson, and the welterweight is going to be Geoff Neal. It's going to be fun. Since we know who these guys are, it's going to be fun watching their first fight. You know where they came from and stuff. So, sorry if this fucking video wasn't as whatever as the other ones, but yeah, I'm a little I'm not gonna say intoxicated. I'm just, I'm tired. That's what I am. I've been work all day, and I did drink a beer, but I'm not fucking up off of a beer. So it is what it is, man. Fuck it. It is what it is. Let us know what the fuck you tell me in the comments, dude.